the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that the balance is actually plugged in. You'll know that when you try to turn it on and it turns on. So we're going to press and hold the on 0 button, and we're going to give it a second. It's going to run through its warm-up process, and then you're going to see 0.00 when it's ready to go. You might be inclined to put stuff on here, but this is a cover. So we're going to lift it up, which is going to expose the plate underneath. Now, before you measure anything, you want to make sure that it is 0. You could also press the 0 button just to make sure that it zeroes itself out. This is also called tare. It means that you're tearing the current weight. Now, you never want to weigh anything directly on the plate itself because it could damage it. The plate is made out of metal, and sometimes we do reactions in chemistry and it could react with it. So we're going to use a weigh boat or a sheet of paper that you can just find from the scrap bin paper, or I'll have them out on the desk for you. Weigh boats are a little bit better. And you can see the weigh boat itself weighs 2.32 grams. But what we're going to do is we're going to zero that out so that when we measure our pieces here, it's going to weigh just the piece and not the weigh boat itself. So if we put this white rod in there, we can see that the mass of the white rod is 8.58. If we take it out, the mass should be 0 or really, really close to it because, again, we just recovered the mass of the rod. You can see that the different rods have different masses. So this one's a little bit heavier, 20.75. $11.44, and then 71.16. This rod should have the same mass if we use the paper instead. But what we need to do is zero it out first. And then if we put the rod on it, we get the same mass. Now, there's other ways that you can use the balance too to figure out the mass. If you want to figure out the mass of multiple things, you just add it. So if we want the brass rod and the plastic rod, we can add those two together. So you can weigh whatever you need to weigh. But say you were working with a mixture and you couldn't take these rods out for whatever reason. You could always zero this. And if you were to add another rod, then you would just get the mass of that plastic rod again. So zeroing works really nice because you can take the mass of whatever you want. You can cut mass out, but whatever you put on the scale after you hit 0, that's going to be the mass of that object itself. When we're finished using the balance, we're going to take everything off. We're going to shut it off by pressing and holding, and then we're going to close the lid.